January 1986, carried huge attention across America as millions of people looked toward another journey linked to the Challenger vehicle. Many viewed it as more than a normal mission because one familiar face sat among the people on board. Christa McAuliffe, a school teacher chosen to take part in the trip, brought huge public excitement, with children waiting in classrooms to watch history unfold live. Alongside her were real people carrying years of hard work and dedication, including Francis Scobee, Michael J. Smith, Judith Resnik, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Gregory Jarvis, and Christa McAuliffe. Yet behind the growing excitement, quiet concern had already reached important people, and warnings linked to cold weather raised troubling questions about whether the launch should move ahead at all. During the period leading up to January 28th, cold weather near the launch area created growing worry among engineers connected to the Challenger vehicle. Temperatures had dropped far lower than earlier launch days, and concern grew around rubber parts linked to rocket boosters, with fear that freezing conditions could affect how they worked. During private meetings, a few engineers tried to delay the launch, arguing that danger may rise under unusual weather. Yet after long discussion between company leaders and NASA officials, the launch moved ahead. While millions of people prepared to watch what looked like another proud moment in history, few realized major concern had already reached important voices only hours earlier. Morning arrived on January 28, 1986, bringing huge attention toward the launch area in Florida. Families gathered near viewing areas, television cameras pointed toward Challenger, and many children waited inside classrooms across America to watch a teacher travel into the heavens for the very first time. Christa McAuliffe carried hope for many young people who dreamed of one day taking part in journeys once viewed as impossible. At Mission Control, final checks moved forward, while concern around cold weather still lingered in quiet corners. Ice had formed around parts near the launch area during the night, creating even more unease among a few people involved. Yet after delay and review, final approval arrived. Challenger stood ready while millions waited for a moment they believed would enter history for all the right reasons. At 11:38 in the morning, Challenger lifted into the air while loud fire moved beneath the vehicle and huge clouds rolled across the ground. People near the launch area looked on with excitement. Children inside classrooms watched carefully, and many families believed they were witnessing a proud moment for America. During the opening minute, everything appeared normal as Challenger climbed higher into the cold morning air. Voices between the people on board and Mission Control carried calm energy, and no clear sign of danger reached public view. Yet unknown to nearly everyone watching, trouble had already taken form only moments after liftoff, hidden from the eyes of millions. Only a little over 1 minute after liftoff, a hidden problem near one of the rocket boosters grew far more dangerous. Due to the freezing weather, a rubber ring meant to block hot gas had not worked the way many hoped. Fire moved through an area where it never should have reached, and within moments, the vehicle could no longer hold together. Millions of people watching live looked toward the sky in confusion while Mission Control tried to understand what had taken place. At first, many believed radio contact had merely failed. Within moments, confusion quickly turned into fear. Families waiting near the launch area looked upward, unable to believe what had unfolded before their eyes. Inside Mission Control, quiet tension quickly turned into alarm while people tried to gather any clue about Challenger. Radio calls reached no reply, data links no longer looked normal, and confusion filled the room. Flight director teams worked rapidly to understand whether any chance of recovery remained, although very little clear information arrived during those painful moments. Outside, huge clouds remained visible in the sky, while many viewers at home struggled to understand what they had just witnessed. For children watching in classrooms, the moment felt difficult to process, particularly knowing a teacher they had looked up to had taken part in the journey. As people tried to understand what took place, attention later turned toward an uncomfortable truth. Engineers had already raised concern about the freezing weather and the rubber rings linked to the rocket boosters. During meetings held only hours earlier, a few voices argued that launching under such cold conditions carried too much danger. Records later revealed that worry had reached important decision-makers, while final approval still moved forward. This painful detail raised hard questions across America. Could the launch have waited for better weather? Would a different choice have changed everything? For many people, these questions carried deep emotion and would remain part of the Challenger story for many years. Beyond the headlines stood 7 real people with families, dreams, and years of dedication. Francis Scobee carried calm leadership. Michael J. Smith looked forward to another major moment in aviation. Judith Resnik had already earned deep admiration for her work. Ronald McNair carried a powerful journey from humble beginnings to national recognition. Ellison Onizuka represented hope for many people across Hawaii. Gregory Jarvis had waited a long time for his chance to join a mission, and Christa McAuliffe carried the dream of bringing learning into classrooms through her journey. Their lives touched many people, and their memory continued to leave a lasting mark long after January 1986. News of the Challenger tragedy quickly reached homes, schools, and workplaces across America, leaving many people in deep shock. Children who had gathered in classrooms to watch Christa McAuliffe travel into the heavens now faced a moment no teacher had prepared them for. Television channels replayed the launch, while families struggled to understand how a day filled with hope had turned into heartbreak. Near the launch area, loved ones waited for answers while mission teams worked to understand every detail linked to what took place. Across the country, candlelight gatherings, prayers, and quiet moments of reflection honored the 7 people whose lives had touched millions. For many, January 28, 1986 turned into a date they would never forget. In the period after Challenger, major effort turned toward finding clear answers about what had gone wrong. A national investigation looked closely at launch records, weather conditions, and earlier concerns raised by engineers. Over time, attention pointed toward rubber rings inside the rocket boosters, which had failed under freezing temperatures and allowed hot gas to escape. The investigation also revealed deeper concern around decision-making, communication, and pressure linked to keeping launch plans on track. Many people later viewed the findings as a painful reminder that even one warning taken lightly can carry heartbreaking results, particularly when human lives remain involved. Many years have passed since Challenger, and the memory of that day still lives on in the minds of people who watched it unfold. For some, it remained a painful memory tied to childhood classrooms, while for others it stood as a reminder of the risks carried by journeys into the unknown. Memorials, schools, and educational programs later honored the 7 people who lost their lives, keeping their memory alive for future generations. Challenger may be remembered for tragedy, while it also left behind important lessons about caution, responsibility, and listening carefully when concerns are raised before major decisions are made. The Challenger tragedy left behind more than heartbreak. It left painful questions about warning signs, difficult decisions, and whether a different choice could have changed the outcome. What started as a day filled with excitement turned into one of the most unforgettable moments in American history, witnessed by millions of people around the world, including children watching live from classrooms. Behind every headline were 7 real people who carried dreams, families, and years of dedication. Their memory continues to live on, while the lessons learned from Challenger still influence how missions are planned even today. One important question still remains. If warnings had reached you before launch day, would you have delayed the mission or allowed it to move forward? Share your opinion and thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy real astronaut stories, lunar mysteries, survival stories, and unforgettable moments from the universe, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real documentary stories.